Are you looking for a spooky season build? The Pumpkin Pie Warrior might be the perfect fit. With a unique color scheme, a fun mobile armor mode, and overall enjoyable build, let's smash this pumpkin. What's up, guys? Today we are taking a look at the Pumpkin Pie Warrior, also known as the NRX-044 Asshimar from the Mobile Suit Zeta Gundam series. This original kit dropped back in June of 2005, so yeah, it's a little bit older, but that's okay. Jumping in, I gotta say, first off, I love the cover art on this thing. It's so very, very unique. It's very fun, appealing all the ways around. My son absolutely could not keep his hands off this box. I will note that it was beat up a little bit for shipping, but all in all, better than I've seen from a lot of kits from Aliexpress. Moving right into the runners, you can see this nice green and orange represented well. I did have a couple pieces come off, and I'm guessing shipping process, but it's alright. For the most part, the plastic quality on this kit is okay. It's about middle tier for the third-party kits and bootleg kits I've built. I do love the nice little purple accent in there, and again, just a little piece here and there. Some scuffing on some of these plastic pieces too. The color correcting stickers, I'm going to touch base a little bit more on that later, but make sure you stick around for that one. And then you can see the base right here is scuffed up good, unfortunately, but it is very unique. Guys, if you're enjoying this so far, make sure you hit that like button. I really appreciate it. A quick side-by-side comparison with the Haikishiki. You can see that it does kind of tower over top of it. That just gives you a good idea of the size representation. So moving into the overall articulation, this does have a transformation, full transformation. Parts are not taken off for this kit. So I will expect some kind of restrictions on this. The head, of course, being the most, is restricted just for the simple fact that there is a little bit of side-to-side motion, but because of that transformation, it doesn't hold up. Nice little arm raise in that with the larger pieces. It's kind of held up. Single bend at the elbow there. And you can see the hand itself is on a ball joint, but there is a sliding mechanism with this as well. It is a little bit hard to get those hands out of there. Unfortunately, I've had to use tweezers just to kind of get those hands back out. The chest opens up, part of that transformation as well. I will note that the side skirting armor on the ribs kind of do pop off. Nice ab crunch, as that is also part of the transformation. No side to side though whatsoever, and just no splits on this kit either. You do have a little bit of a turn in and out at that hip there, so you can have some articulation for a dynamic pose. Great front kick, and moving backwards, there's no rear skirt, so you should have a great range for that as well. Then moving over to the knee bend, you do have a double joint. However, there is a longer piece of armor on that back side of the leg that does kind of hinder it. You can pop this section out. That is again part of the transformation, but that will allow for more posing if you need a little bit stronger of a dynamic knee bend. A little bit side-to-side motion, and then of course those feet close, part of that transformation as well. Thrusters do slide up and down on the backpack, and the backpack hinges down and back in. There's two pegs that kind of keep it firm while it's in either formation. So switching over to the accessories here, there is not much with this kit, but you do have two very large cannons and trigger finger, and this very interesting base, completely different than any other kit that I've done, so we'll come back to that in a second. Switching over large beam rifles, you can take a look and see there is some stress marks done on that green there, and of course since they're larger pieces, you're going to have a decent amount of seams on that for cleanup. Switching over, you can see that the hands are trigger finger sandwich style, so it will pop in place. Does okay. I will note that the guns are a little bit on the bigger side, so it has a tendency to knock the fingers free. So let's talk about some of the things that's awesome about this kit. First off, this is an all-in-one transformation kit. You will see that a little bit later on, but there is no parts taken off for this. Everything is actually used on this. Even with the transformation, this Pumpkin Pie Warrior actually is very simple to build, and I do like some of the posing that it can pull off. Of course, we do have some negatives with this. Of course, there's large seams on some of the bigger plastic. The quality of the plastic is about, I would say, mid-tier. I mentioned that earlier, but it's not as soft as like some of the Temu XFS. And again, you can see just in the green, there is some imperfections showing on that. And the color correcting stickers, a little rough on that. They just don't really match up as well as I'd hope. And again, going back to this green, you can just see some imperfections and swirls throughout it, but it's very doable. I didn't think it was too bad. I wish that these shoulders pieces that were a little bit more durable, and you can see of course on those beam rifles there is stress marks in that, so just when you're cutting out, be aware of that and Make sure everything's cleaned up. This whole kit is undergated, so that could be some of the issues. And this isn't really the kit's fault, but this was kind of scraped up and scratched up in the shipping process. The green again shows some nub marks, and I just want to get that. So moving into this transformation, guys, it is all in one. There's no parts off of this kit, so you kind of work with it just to make it work. And if you guys know much about my channel, I'm not a big fan of transformation kits, so I'm hoping to see how this thing shakes out. Again, that side piece you can see popped off when you opened up the chest section, and that's fine, you know, it pops right back on there, not a big deal. Working into the leg part of the transformation, you do have to open up the back sides, and they fold down into it to give it more of an aerodynamic, like straight line look for the thrusters on the feet, and of course you close them up as well. They can be a little fickle to get in the right spot. You just kind of keep working with it until you get where you need to be at. And then you put the backpack, kind of move it around and adjust it to where it slides down in the back. And it's interesting. So now what you do is actually connect the arms to the shoulder portion, wrap it around and connect it. Everything has a couple of little grooves that pop in place. And we're finishing up the transformation. Let's take a look and see what it actually looks like versus the original box cover. Uncanny, guys, uncanny. All right, just kidding. Honestly, for a bootleg based off of a 2005 kit, this one still holds up pretty well. The transformation is pretty solid. The build is simple, and even though there is a few flaws with the plastic quality and stickers, it's still fun to have on the shelf. Thanks for watching, Gunpla fam. Until next time, love.